All right, we're live. We'll wait for people to join us. It's 8 o'clock right now, so we'll give 2 or 3 minutes. So just hang tight, everybody. So I am Dr. Alli. I'm really excited to come live tonight. Definitely a little bit out of my comfort zone. I prefer the written word, but part of my 2017 goals are to step outside of my comfort zone and to reach more people on topics that I'm passionate about and that I want to spread the word on. So things like chiropractic, health, nutrition, which is why we're here today, weight training, strength and conditioning, CrossFit. Hi, Kath. We're just going to wait a few minutes, maybe 1 or 2 minutes for people to join. Thanks for joining me tonight, guys. Happy Sunday. Hope it was a day well spent for everybody. I just got some yoga in and cleared my head because, like I said, it's stepping outside of my comfort zone to hop on live. Jordan just gave me a pep talk and he said, teach them everything you know. And I'm hoping to do that tonight. So in the email I sent and in the group, I want to discuss, or I came up with some topics that I'd like to talk about that people have come up to me to talk about recently. And one of those is, why am I gaining weight by doing CrossFit? That comes up a lot. The second thing I want to talk about is the importance of sleep, which is the one thing that you can do really easily to regulate your appetite. The third thing I want to talk about is pre-workout, because that's actually come up 2 or 3 times in the past week. Should I be taking a pre-workout? Am I leaving gains on the table if I'm not optimizing my pre and post-workout nutrition? And then finally, there has been a really big change in my life in the last couple of months that's had a big impact on me, and I want to talk to you guys about it today. At any time, jump in, ask me a question. We are live, so I'll do my best to answer the questions kind of as they pop up. But if you are watching this on a replay, I'll go back over the course of the next week, and I'll try to get to it over the week. Okay, well, looks like we have lots of people in. Hi, Sue. Hi, Emily. Hi, Kellen. Hi, Leanne. Hi, Danny. Let's get started, guys. The first question that I got, well, over the last 3.5 years, I probably get on a weekly basis is, I'm doing CrossFit. I'm committed to working out 3, 4, 5 times a week. Why am I gaining weight? And the first thought that a lot of people have is it's muscle. And that might be true. You definitely could be gaining some muscle that's showing up on the scale in the form of weight gain. And that's okay. But in my experience, it's very rare to get a muscle gain of more than 1 pound a month, especially if you're a female. So back to that question, just because I see some new people joining. Hi, Tanya. Hi, Vicky. The question is, I'm doing CrossFit. Why am I gaining weight? I'm dedicated to my exercise program. And it comes down to a few studies that I've read over the past few weeks. And it comes down to a hormone called ghrelin. And if you have a pen and paper, write this down. Ghrelin, ghrelin. It is the hormone in your body that is responsible for increasing your appetite. Okay, so when you're exercising, when you're doing a hard WOD, when you're deadlifting, when you're on the ground after a workout and you're huffing and puffing, ghrelin is suppressed in the body. So you are not hungry in that moment, likely because blood is being diverted away from the stomach to other things like your arms and your legs if you're doing thrusters, right? You're not thinking about eating in that moment. But what studies have shown us, and especially in women, is that in the 2 hours after a workout, ghrelin starts to increase. Okay, so ghrelin being the hormone that causes you to feel like you are hungry, increases or spikes after a workout. So if you're not able to manage that feeling of being hungry, or you haven't set yourself up for success and have good food choices, you're going to be on your way home from the gym or at home, and you're going to reach for the first thing you find, or you're going to hop through that McDonald's drive-through because you're so hungry, because your body is telling you it needs to replace the energy that you just expended. So a lot of times, because you are working out so much harder, and CrossFit is really one of the best ways to work out, but it's spiking that hormone ghrelin, and it's causing you that psychological feeling of, I need food now. The second thing that comes into play there beyond that physical component is that psychological component of, I worked hard today, I can reward myself. So in the last couple of weeks, one thing that came up was somebody said to me, I'm quitting CrossFit and I'm starting running because I have to lose this weight. And I never like to give information unless I'm directly asked for it. But in the back of my head, I thought to myself, I'm like, no, you just need to start to manage those feelings of being hungry better. So we know better. My good friend, Dr. K at Alli Health Center, he says, when you know better, you do better. So the next time that you feel that hungry surge, an hour or 2 hours after a workout, maybe you can start to think about what we just talked about. And better yet, you can prepare your environment to set yourself up for success, so that when you're going for your workout and you're coming home at 7 p.m. and at 8 p.m. you're going to sit down and you're going to feel hungry, that you can have some good quality snacks that maybe fit into your macros or are clean whole foods or something that works for your body and isn't going to be at the detriment of undoing that energy balance that you gained from working out. Any questions about that? So the hormone there was ghrelin, and that is an increased appetite hormone. That makes you feel hungry. So on the opposite end of that is a hormone called leptin. That suppresses your appetite. So we have those kind of working in opposition there, ghrelin and leptin. Those two hormones are drastically affected by your quality of sleep. And that's something that you can really easily manage. And I say that because I don't have kids, but you can do better at managing by simply increasing your amount of sleep. So if you're somebody who has the ability to get to bed early or has the ability to sleep in later and can get good quality sleep, just by improving your sleep patterns, getting more than 6, 7, 8 hours of sleep, you're going to regulate those hormones. A study in 2004 showed that a lack of sleep, and that was 6 hours or less, which I know 6 hours to me sometimes feels like a good quality sleep, but 6 hours or less increased ghrelin, and you'll remember that was the hormone that makes us want to eat more, and decreased leptin. So a small little trick there, that if we're talking about advancing your macros or advancing your nutrition, if weight loss is your goal and body composition changes is your goal, trying to get sleep isn't just something that your trainer or your nutritionist or your friend says to you just to grind your gears. It's something that really is backed by the science that can have a dramatic effect on you. Hi, Brad. Hi from Keswick. Hey, Vicky. Thanks, you too. Hope I'm doing okay, guys. Hope I'm not talking too fast. My mom said to me after our wedding, after my speech, she's like, Alli, it was a good speech, but you just talked too fast. So I'm trying to slow it down. And if I start going too fast, let me know. Okay, guys? So any questions so far? We touched on ghrelin, we touched on leptin, we touched on how those two hormones can affect your workouts. It can affect your weight. It can be affected by your quality of sleep. The third question, thanks, Amanda. Actually, the third question here is, Catherine, so if I need more sleep and I can only work out at night, do I need to give up a WOD to gain more sleep in the week? You're doing a great job. Thanks, Nat. Kath, that's a good question. And the answer really is, it depends. I know you well and I know your schedule well. So I would say to you specifically that I think working out less may work in your favor in terms of aesthetic goals, but will that cause a detriment to your performance goals? I'm not quite sure. So that's something that if you'd like to talk to me one-on-one about, I'd be happy to chat about, but you're never doing the wrong thing by getting more sleep, if that makes sense. I hope that helps. Okay, third question here. Should I be taking a pre-workout drink? Answer again, guys, is it depends. I wish I could tell you buy this and I know it's going to work and it's going to add 20 pounds to every single lift, but unfortunately that doesn't exist. And if it does exist, I would be a multi-millionaire. So the answer is it depends. A pre-workout drink is typically used to enhance performance. That's the thought behind taking a pre-workout drink. And there are 4 components of a pre-workout drink that I would suggest looking for if you're going to invest the money in it. And we're talking probably $40, $50, $60 for a pre-workout supplement that might last you about a month if you're taking it 5 times a week. And those 4 things would be creatine, it could be caffeine, it could be nitric oxide, and it could be beta-alanine. And the reason I would choose these 4 things is creatine is one of the most researched supplements, and it does have an effect on the ability for your muscle to contract and give you more strength. Nitric oxide is a vasodilator, meaning it opens up and allows more blood flow to the body, which is going to have good effects on your endurance, getting more blood flow to the appendages that need it. The 3rd thing was caffeine for that boost in energy. And the 4th thing was beta-alanine. And if you've ever taken a pre-workout drink, that's what kind of gives you the itchy, tingly feeling, and is a common component or ingredient in pre-workout drinks. Now, I've said, actually, I had a professor that said this to me, and I've quoted him on many occasions. He said, if you're taking supplements, all you're doing is making really expensive pee. So take that with a grain of salt. I personally, pre-workout, usually try to have a coffee. When we're talking supplements, we're talking the last 2-3% of performance. So are you optimizing your health in every other aspect? And this is the last 2 or 3% that you need. So is your sleep on point? Are your macros perfect? Are you following your programming to a T? Are you eating good quality foods? If you can check, then maybe you're a candidate for a pre-workout drink. If not, I would suggest saving that $40 or $50 for something else and, tightening up your health and optimizing it in other ways. So I hope that makes sense. Any questions about pre-workout drinks? Does anybody take one, really rely on it? I know, thinking back, I guess 8 years now, when I was doing a fitness competition and training for that, if I didn't have my pre-workout, the way that my mindset was at that point, if I didn't have my pre-workout, I was leaving gains on the table and it wasn't even worth it. And my mindset's really changed. Just the stuff you need and none of the fluff. A no-nonsense pre-workout. Just the stuff you need and none of the fluff. Cool. So we'll have a look at that, Vicki. Thanks. Omar, do you know the brand name for his? Or is it called No Nonsense? Because that would be good. Awesome. So moving on. So we talked about why am I gaining weight when I start CrossFit. We talked about ghrelin and leptin and how sleep can impact those hormones, increasing your appetite or the appetite suppressant. We just touched on the pre-workout. And the last thing, thanks, Vicki. I'll look them up and see what we think, because that could be great and a really good recommendation for some people. Okay, the last thing, and I haven't really told many people about this, and I've been on the fence. Should I write a blog? Should I mention it casually in the nutrition group? Because it's kind of a big deal. But 3 months ago, I decided, after watching lots of documentaries, having good conversations with friends, seeking out some people who I consider experts, I decided to become a vegetarian. So since November, I think I've had chicken once and I've had fish once. So I have had a completely plant-based diet. It stemmed from a conversation that Jordan, my now husband, and I had months and months ago. In the summer, a bit of a story here. In the summertime, I took on an extra job and I was working at 2 clinics, one in Keswick, one in Newmarket. I was working at the gym. I was doing the nutrition coaching, and I was burning the candles at both ends. And I found myself really relying on a lot of fast food, like a Tim Hortons wrap, and a lot of protein bars. Still hitting my macros perfectly, but we're talking that next level stuff, that advanced stuff, it wasn't good quality. And I was really lacking on my vegetables. So we made a commitment to each other to eat more vegetables, which I can happily say we've been doing really, really well. And actually Jordan just made a disgusting shake with cauliflower and carrots, and he loves it. He makes one every day, but I don't love it. Anyways, so in deciding to become a vegetarian, and the people, when I've gone out for dinner with people and I've let them know, the first question, without a doubt, every time is, how are you getting your protein? To which I respond with, plants have protein too. Plants have amino acids. When we eat what we typically consider protein, which are the meat-based chickens, fish, and such, the protein is broken down into amino acids. And in the body, that's when we're grabbing those amino acids, putting them together and creating the peptides and everything we need to be a healthy, functioning human being. So there's 20 amino acids, and of those 20 amino acids, there's 9 that are essential, meaning the body can't produce them. Plants have most of them. So I'm getting most of the nutrition that I need, but it's been a lot trickier, and it's almost been like going back to the beginning with macros and cutting myself some slack. I decreased the amount of protein target that I had in a day and cut myself some slack because it was really, really tough to go from filling 135 grams of protein a day with chicken and meat and fish to not. I had to seek out alternative sources. And this isn't a conversation on morals, or it's really just something that I wanted to try for myself, mostly for the health of the planet and for other species. And I totally would never give people this information to think that you should be doing this too. It's not my intention at all. But it's a common question that came up, and I think that it's an interesting dialogue to have with people to talk about the actual building blocks of the body that protein is broken down into and how you can get that from plants. There aren't a lot of plants that are, I'm getting to that, good segue, Natalie. I really want to become a vegetarian, but I have trouble filling myself only on plant-based foods. I always feel hungry. Okay, good. Well, I'll get to that. Thanks for bringing that up. I really appreciate you acknowledging that. So my alternative sources. So I do a plant-based protein powder. Okay, good. So I do a plant-based protein powder. Egg whites are a huge part of my diet, and a big reason why I chose to try out being a vegetarian and not a vegan, because that wouldn't be part of a vegan diet. So eggs and egg whites are a huge portion of my diet. I have about a cup every morning along with my pea-based protein. So right there, we're talking 50 grams of protein. To Danielle's point, I took a picture. I'll post it after this. Jordan said to me this morning, he's like, that's a shit ton of food. I take a cup of egg whites and I cut up some sweet potatoes and then I added some vegetables and I got size of my face like an omelet. And that I only was able to eat half for breakfast and then I kept half for lunch. So that's how I am filling myself. The odd time I've looked at chicken, Jordan's just eating some pulled chicken right now. I looked at it and I was like, oh, that would be good to eat, but I'm really committed to this lifestyle change for myself. But back to alternative sources. So I talked about the amino acids, and you may have heard the word a complete protein before, which meat sources are. There's very, very few plant-based complete proteins, meaning they have those essential amino acids. But 2 of them would be quinoa and chia, and I believe hemp seeds as well. So those have made a more regular occurrence in my diet. I'll sprinkle the hemp seeds onto my salad. I'll have quinoa mixed with vegetables. But it's been tough, and it's been a lot of research, and I feel like I'm a macro beginner again. But that's okay. This is something that I want for myself. It's a goal. It's something I value. So the outcome is going to be worth the results for me. So I wanted to announce that to everybody. I think this live feed was a good way to do it because it's a bit of a big deal in my life, and I think that a lot of people have questions about it. So I'd be more than happy to talk to anybody about that. Send me an email, drallikane@hotmail.com, and yeah, let's open up some conversation. Does anybody else have questions about their own macros? We're 3.5 weeks into the new year, and I know a lot of people said, okay, I'm recommitting. Over Christmas, it was tough. I kind of dabbled with tracking and measuring, but I know I got a little off target of my goals. This month was it. How's everybody doing? Kind of more committed, sticking to their regular routine, got their MyFitnessPal going. If you're somebody who has been tracking for 6 months plus, I would love for you to take a look at, oh, good question, Vicki. I'll get to that in just a second, but I would love for you to have a look at my advanced macros program. I priced it really, really low because I want to give people more. And I felt at the end of last year that I was kind of spinning in circles. Not so much that it wasn't effective. It's super effective with everybody that I'm working with, but I wanted to take it to the next level. And that's what we're kind of talking about right now, is some of that next level stuff. So if you're just looking to get into macros, and this is kind of way far in the future, don't worry, we'll get you where you want to be. Vicky, awesome question, because that's usually what it's followed up by. Do you get enough protein, and have you felt a difference in your body composition and energy? I'll be totally honest with you. Body composition wise, over the holidays, I got married on New Year's Eve, and I've never had physical stress manifest itself in weight loss in my life, and it did with the wedding. So I can't attribute body composition or weight loss or weight gain to my change in adopting a vegetarian diet because of that. I know it was stress based. But energy wise, I feel totally the same. Not better, not worse, definitely not worse. In terms of the gym, I've been adding weight to my lifts. I've been feeling really good in the cardio-based workouts. There's been no changes, which I think is good, because I do think that I was under eating my the caloric intake that I wanted to be, just because plant-based diet typically is lower in calories. So long answer, make it short. I felt that I've stayed the same. Mindset wise though, I felt really proud of myself for sticking to what I said that I was going to do in late October, early November, because it's been tough to take out a whole food group that I've spent 30 years eating and relying on. So I mindset wise, I'm pretty proud of myself for being able to do that. And I think that translates into increased motivation and maybe some increased energy to keep after it. Anyone out there never done macros before, just tuned in because it looked kind of cool, you wanted to learn more about it? Macros is super simple, and it's super simple to get started. It's a little bit of a learning curve, but really take whatever you're eating, keep eating it. Let's just figure out the right amount that works for you. Hi, Jen. Hope you're well. Awesome. Well, I'm glad that you're here. So macros it refers to macronutrients. There are 4. There is carbohydrates, fats, proteins, and the 4th one is alcohol, which doesn't really give us much nutrition, but it's still a part of our life and we make it work. And the way that I eat and the way that I feel best about myself and the way that I like food is by just figuring out the right amount of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins for me and the people that I work with, and then filling those targets every day with whatever foods fit. And I want to go back to what I just said there, because I think that we overlook that a lot as one of the reasons that macros is so important, and why I've dedicated a portion of my life to teaching it, is liking the way that you eat. And I must say, and not to have a moral conversation here, but on Facebook, there's a lot of times that I'll log on and people will be documenting, and sometimes in really funny stories, about how they're engaging with a new diet. And it's always negative. It's always, I feel like crap, I can't go out with my friends, I had to say no to this, I had to say no to that, when is this 10-day detox ending? And I understand that that's part of the culture and the society that we live in, that we're going to kind of go all in for a bit and then go all out. But I want to stand from the rooftops and scream that it doesn't have to be that way. That liking how you eat and changing your body composition and supporting your athletic performance, feeling good and enjoying life can all go hand in hand. And it really can. It takes maybe a little bit of foundational work, but I just want everybody to know that eating well and feeling like they have to miss out on life, like life is so short. We're going to go into a whole other conversation, but life is so short. And if you're saying no, like no to this social event, no to that social event, no dinner, you're missing out. And food should not have that power over you. And I hope that if I don't teach anybody anything else, that I teach them that food should not be able to have the power to make you feel bad. And I guess that's just end, period, right there. That's kind of the main mission behind what I do. I just want everyone to like how they eat and enjoy life and feel good in their own skin. And that kind of ends it for me over the 4 topics that I wanted to talk about. If you're just joining in late, hi James. We talked today about 2 hormones, ghrelin and leptin. Go on to the Google and look those up and how important sleep is to regulate those. If you're somebody who's been working out really, really hard and you're not seeing the results that you wish that you were, both in your performance or maybe your body composition, maybe it's time to take a look at your nutrition and see how it can support your goals. I personally use an app to track every single thing that goes in my mouth. What do you use to track your macros? I really like MyFitnessPal. But beyond that, with macros, when you're just getting started with it, I also, let me get it for you. I also recommend having a food scale as well, just to make sure that what you think that you're eating is the amount that it actually is. And on that note, sometimes I notice people are weighing their chicken and they're weighing their vegetables, but they're forgetting to weigh their chocolate chips. Might be me. Their ice cream and things like that. So it is important that if you're going to adopt and if it fits your macros and kind of allow any type of food in that diet, that you're weighing and measuring everything at the beginning. Macro way of eating has taught me to make clean, good choices to complement my programming and life events on a weekly basis. Oh, thanks, Kath. Oh, that's great. Yeah, and you've been amazing, and I think everybody can see how you've committed to, you've stated your goals and you've committed to them, and it's not a linear process, is it? It's not like I say I'm going to do this and then I'm here. It's up, down, up, down, up, down. But every time maybe we fumble back, you work that much harder, right? And we're always moving forward. It's really beautiful to see how many people have evolved over the last 3 years with both their health and wellness for themselves and how that trickles into their families as well. It's pretty significant, the amount of people who have impacted others, and you're one of them. There's a lot of people in here who are one of them. It's good. So we're talking macros here. Are there any other pressing questions? Sometimes accountability can be the toughest thing. Like, you can get your macro number, you can even pay for a program, but then you're not sure who to report to or how to keep yourself accountable. We work a lot better when we're working for somebody else, right? It's a lot easier to tell your spouse to do something or your kids to do something than to tell yourself to do something and actually do it. So if you are somebody who is trying to change your way of eating and adopt more healthy habits, get a support team. Tell your friend, tell your spouse, tell your kids, tell your boss, let people know. And you'll be surprised at how supportive people are of you trying to live a healthier, more fulfilling, well life. Support and accountability is a big portion of making good, healthy changes. So just back to, we touched on the pre-workout, we touched on the fact that I'm a vegetarian, we touched on, I started CrossFit, now I'm gaining weight, what's going on, and we touched on sleep. That is it for me. I'll just leave it open for a couple more minutes to see if there's any questions, but thank you so much for joining me tonight, Sunday night, and dealing with probably my fast talking ways. I hope that you learned something, and if you'd like more clarification on anything, I'm always available in this nutrition group or via email as well. Cheers, guys. Happy Sunday. I don't know how to stop it. Do you want to say hi? Jordan doesn't. Come say hi. Thanks, Jen. Here he is. I wanted to get Jordan in today, but he has a big presentation tomorrow for some medical doctors, so he's actually over there doing some work for himself. Thanks, Brad. Thanks, Kath. Thanks, Jen. I'll try to do this more often. I'll tell my mom that I didn't talk fast. You know I talk fast.
Hi, Amanda.
Cheers, guys. Okay, let me figure out